Hello and welcome once again on this Monday afternoon. Welcome to this Monday Madness with me. My name's Simon Williamson and I'm here from the Have-A-Go design team. I can see lots of you joining us already. You must have got the notifications. If you don't know already, you can subscribe to the channel and then you'll be kept informed with any notifications, any news that's upcoming. So it is worth clicking that bell, and then you'll also be told when we're going to go live as well, give you that 30-minute warning. So loads of people on already. So we've got Phil Bags on there, Susan, Maureen, Elaine, hi everybody, Roxy Lee, and Anne. I don't think I've missed anybody else. There might be some other people I've missed, but I do apologise if I have. Anyway, let's get started. So I've got two really nice demos for you today. I've got a really fast, easy card to make, and then I've got a little bit more complex one that's got moving parts. I want to save the moving part one until after the first demo is done. So this is going to be the first one I'm going to do. And it's a really nice, tall, slim card that's going to utilise that star stencil that we've got. And it's going to draw your eye into that little cute elephant holding the love heart in this case. I'm going to give it a different character on our mate though today, just to push it up a little bit. Let's show you how to make this card. Hi Elaine. So, ahead of time, I've already got my card blank and I've got a glitter background. So let's get that stuck onto there, then that can be set in while we do the front panel. Let's get a bit of glue onto there. It's not raining today, that's a bonus, isn't it? It's normally raining every Monday I come. Promise I don't sing. Let's get that lined up on there. Right, a good push down. And I can just pop that to the front while that's setting. So on this main panel, what I want to do is want to create this area here so the sentiment really pops out. So you can see on there we've got remember you've got a friend in me. So I don't want the stencil to go over that area. So I'm going to mask off that area, protect it on my card. I've got some low-tack masking tape. So I'm just going to pop some of that on. I'll put another one just above it. I'm just going to put a third strip on there to cover the join because I did try this earlier and it just managed to seep through. I think it's because it's so low tack, this tape. So I'm just going to make sure I'm well protected on that one. There we go. So I want to create this kind of stencil background. I'm going to use that using one of the eyes ink sprays. And I've brought, what colour is this one today? Vert, which is like a green. It's got that iridescence kind of like mica in there. So we're going to give that a bit of a mix up. So make sure that's all kind of dispersed into the liquid. And then I've got a box down here so I don't get green spray everywhere. I'm going to pop that into there. And then I've brought my stencil from home. So I'm just going to get a piece of paper. Ooh, I can find some. Just grab some from down here for 2 seconds. So if you can see in that box above, I want to stencil the top half first, but cover this bottom bit off. So I'm just going to put a piece of card over that. And then that should allow me to put my stencil where I want to keep it. I'm going to push it so the centre point's there, and I've got some stars and detail going into this top corner. I'm just going to twist that a little bit round. And then we're just going to give that a bit of a spray from a height. Give that a second to grab. It's quite fast drying this, but I don't want to smudge it, so I'm just going to reach in with both hands. I do apologise if I block your view just a second. Here we go. And I'm going to cover the top half up now with a piece of brown card, so I don't spray any more onto that. And I can move my stencil down for this bottom bit. I'm going to just move it this way around. And I can make sure I get some nice little stars at the bottom as well. Could have got a bigger box out. I know. It was a last minute rush round to get this box. I can hardly reach, I need a little step stool. There we go, we'll take that off. I'll just leave that in there. And we'll bring out our piece of card. Oh, I'm back. I'll just give that time to just actually dry off, but it's a little bit wet on there, I can see that. Do a little bit of a blast with a heat gun. And there we go. And then I'm just going to take this low tack tape off. And that's give us a nice crisp area now for a sentiment to go. So let's bring up the stamping platform. Let's start building our sentiment in there. Put the magnet, just cover that bit, I think. I've got the Remember You've Got a Friend in Me, which is from the New Elephant collection. Let's put that into the centre. That little strip we've created. Push down on that. I'm going to use the Eyes ink. I don't know if this has got a colour, it's just like a greeny one out of one of the multi-sets. So I will give that a good ink in so we get a really good impression. Give that a quick wipe with the anti-static bag. And then push that down. I'm just going to go in one more time. Give that a push down. Make sure I've got all that image nicely done. And I'm going to bring in my Eyes ink embossing powders now. I'll just get a scrap of card. And this is the Eyes ink. It's the transparent one with a little bit of glitter in it as well. So it gives a nice iridescent kind of look, and it means that I can keep that green as the base colour of the sentiment. Make sure I've got that well covered. I'm just going to tip that off. Just bang off the loose there, and I can see that's caught really well with the little glitter pigments in there. I'm just going to get rid of my loose powder. Doing very well not to spill these, you know. At home, they'd be all over the place. I just use my sentiment. And I'm just going to heat emboss this kind of glitter now. So it does take a little bit longer with there being glitter in there, but it's really worth the effect that we get afterwards. So you can see when it changes because it goes darker. There we go. Are we all doing then? Are we all looking forward to the craft fair in hot sunlight? I can't wait till we're going to tell you. Like a holiday for me. So I've just got the corner chomper. I'm just going to round these corners off now. So I really like this effect on these cards. So we're just going to go through all the edges. And then I'm just going to go back in with the green ink pad that I did the sentiment with. I'm just going to nibble the edges of this to take the whiteness off. So not a heavy press, but just enough to kind of soften it down. It'll just help tie in that glitter card as well. Just turn that as well. They're really juicy, these ink pads, so you can do lots with them. They're brilliant. Okay, so I'll give that a good push round. Just going to move my stamping platform down a second. The Maureen says I spilled mine too, Simon. I know. I sometimes though collect all the spill bits and then use that to emboss with, and you get a really unusual effect then, especially if you don't mix it up too much. You don't know what you're going to get. It's really good. I'm just going to bring in some foam pads and we can get this on our card base ready. I'll just turn that over a second. Just going to make sure I've got enough support on this card, but it's a little bit thinner than I would have normally used. It'll do the job well. Also at home, what I seem to do as well is I put a little bit of wet glue on top of the foam pads, just so that it's got a bit more key for the actual glitter card. I find it adheres better, but I think for today's demonstration this will be fine. I'm just going to centralise this on our panel. Make sure it's where I want it, top and bottom. There we go. And give that a good push down. That's our card base ready. So I'm going to pop that to one side. And I think for this card, I'm going to use the little sitting down elephant. So just put that behind you, be able to see that. Really cute kind of size. He's got a little hair on his head, look all curly. Let's get this on our stamping platform. Move this up a little bit. And I'm just going to bring in my black VersaFine ink for this. So I just want a crisp image on this one. And then we'll stamp that onto the watercolour card. Push that down. And we'll just take that out. I brought my watercolours again, so I'm just going to give a little bit of a colour wash to this elephant and bring him to life a little bit. Let's have a bit of this grey, I think. We'll just brush them into them areas, just because we don't want him to look so flat, do we? It's so easy to bring to life these as well. They don't take a lot of technique. We'll just go a little bit darker on his lower half, around his toes. I'm just going to take that darker colour back into the top of his ears, around his head. Just down his trunk. And I think we should have a little bit of pink in his ears, or her ears. I quite like doing them in the soft colours as well, but you could go as vibrant as you prefer. There we go. And I'm just going to give that a quick blast with the heat gun now to make sure that that's dried. I'm just trying to read all your comments, they're going too fast. There you go. And I brought the outline die for our little friendly elephant. So we can just get this cut out perfectly. Just pop that through. Let's move that to one side. This is a really fast card, isn't it? You can see how fast it's come together. I think we've done this in under 20 minutes, I'm sure. And I'm just going to bring in 2 other little foam pads, just to raise them up a little bit. I'm going to put them into the centre of this kind of star effect. It just draws your attention to our little character. I'm going to make this one a little bit wonky as well, off-sided. And then just to finish this off, I found these in my stash at home, but I've got these little green star stickers. And I just thought they went really well with this project. How do you think to that then? So that's the first one we've made today. And there's loads of like sparkle in that eyes ink paste as well, the spray. They're really cute, really fast to make, and it's really good idea just to mask off an area for your sentiment just down there. It really draws your attention to it without having to do too much work. So I hope you enjoyed the first demonstration. That's our fast little demonstration for today. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you some inspiration using the new collection while I set up the next demonstration. So I'll see you in a couple of minutes. And then there's some lovely ideas in those cards you've just seen, some really versatile ways of using them, new stamps and dies. I'm just randomly looking at the comments and somebody put, I can vaguely remember riding sideways on an elephant, and I don't know what that will link to, but it did make me chuckle, I've got to say. Right, so as next card, I don't think you saw it on Facebook, but I put a little bit of a sneak peek of this picture. This was a concept that I wanted to do. And I want to try and do a card that kind of revolves. So this was the concept that I came up with, and then this is the card that I turned it into, which I think I'm in love with. I think it's brilliant. So when it rains, look for rainbows, and then if you pull this, the rainbow appears. So it's just a really quirky idea, and I think it's really good, and I think you'll enjoy this one. So let me show you how I made this one. So let's start off. So I don't put my card blank over there, so I don't need that yet. So I've got a card blank that I think it's an 8-inch card, and I've cut down a 7.5-inch matte layer in white. And I've just got a piece of blue that I'm going to cover to give a bit more strength, and that's going to be the base of our card. I'm going to put that over there for a second. I'm going to work on this piece here. Let's get a bit of glue onto this first of all. It's a really good idea, this one as well. I'm sure you could come up with your own take on it. It doesn't have to be a rainbow that appears. You could have flowers or a sentiment or somebody's name. Right, so let's get that stuck onto there. Make sure that's all down. Make sure that that's where I need it to be. I'm going to give that a good push down. Make sure that glue really grips. So we need that to be secure for what we're going to be doing. Make sure that's, there we go, that one's done. So that's going to be the front of our card, and that's going to actually hold this panel that we're going to cut in pink. So there's quite a lot of my cards. I always do like a template to do these, and I can use these then to recreate the card. So I'm just going to deconstruct this one a little bit. I'm going to take the wheel off, and I can use this is a guide of where I need to cut out. So because I don't want any black marks on our blue paper, I'm going to use my white pen for this. I'm just going to just really simply trace round this aperture that I need to take out. And you could make this as simple as you want to. You don't have to put all these shapes in the clouds. I'm just going to literally use it as like a stencil to trace round. And I need to make sure I put that dot in there because that's where our pivot's going to be in a second. So if I take that off now, you can see we've got our kind of cloud layer that we're going to be cutting away. And then we're just going to do a bit of fussy cutting. So we're going to get some sharp scissors. And the best way I find to do this is to just pierce it in the middle and then cut out an area from the centre so that you can get your scissors in for the detail stuff. So we're just going to take all that out. There you go. And then you can get your scissors in a lot easier, look, and you can turn around. So let's just put around some of these shapes and get this all done. Doesn't take a long time. And if you go out of your white line, it doesn't really matter. Just round these bits. I can see that sparkly glitter everywhere. I think I've must have rubbed some on the glass mat. It's all sparkling everywhere. And then we're going to go around this last bit. As long as it's not a straight line, it's fine, but the clouds are really going to help build this up in a second. Okay, so we've now got our little panel that's been cut out there. So at the moment, it's just like a rough shape there, so we need to kind of disguise it a little bit. So what I've done is I brought in the cloud stencil from the previous Avogo collections. I'm going to use this to break up this kind of blue area. So I brought in that. I've also brought in the white eyes ink pad. And I've got my foam dabber. So let's just bring some of this detail in here. Just pattern it into the card. You can go as heavy or as light as you want. You can see we'll just start to break up that blue. I'm just going to press on a little bit more so you can try and see a bit more definition on that. But I can see it quite well above. Oh, you can see that, can't you? Well. You could also use the white thirsty brush paint as well. I forgot what they call those paints, but that's quite vivid. Just takes a little bit longer to dry though, that's why I went with this for today. So I'm just dragging that white in. Just please make us a die for this for your next collection. Ooh, would you like to see dies like this that help you create concept cards? So I'm quite open to doing that if that's something you would like to see. I'm just going to build up some more of this cloud going down here. It just softens that blue a little bit. And just take into this lower part. So Phil would like to see dies that make concept cards. That's nice to know. I have to watch this space, see what I can come up with then. I'm just going to do this last bit at the bottom. There we go. So we can see the clouds on there. I don't want them to be too bright, because I want it to look a bit rainy. So that's kind of my take on it. But what I am going to do is just with my white pen that we used for the initial kind of drawing, is I'm just going to pick out some of the clouds just so that it gives them a little bit more enhancement. So just follow those around. You don't have to do all of the cloud, I'm just trying to pick out some of those curves that you see where the dark blue meets the light, just to give it a little bit more definition. A few over here. There you go. You can see if I hold it up now for you, it should have created some kind of like cloud definition. You see the white just makes it a little bit lighter. And it also looks like a stormy cloud, doesn't it? Which is what we wanted. So Irene says yes as well. Oh, I think it might be after an idea I explore then. Right, so on the bottom there, I've just got a piece of rainbow ribbon. I'm going to stick that on, and that's going to become the ground for our little friendly elephant characters. We might as well stick that on now while we've got it. He says, with a red line of tape. It's my arch enemy, this, I tell you. Here we go. Just stick that across the bottom of our card. Turn it over, and I can just secure it at the back with a bit of double side that's left. There we go. We've got a nice little storm clouds already. And while we're at this stage, what we might as well do is just put our sentiment into place as well, and do that with a stamping platform. I'll just bring that in. And then I've got the, oh, do you know, I think I've forgot the stamp. That's brilliant, isn't it? No, I ain't got the stamp with me today. So what we'll do is we'll move on to the next bit, and I can come back to that if I locate it. I must put it somewhere. Now we need to move the, we now need to do is make the panel that goes behind, and this is the bit that's going to rotate. So I just hold that, assemble that back into position. There you go. So, sorry. There you go. So this is the bit that's going to move behind the panel, you can see. And that's going to bring the rain and the rainbow. Let's work on this panel now. So it's simply a circle, and it has to be bigger than your aperture. So if I just lay that down, so it's easy for me to hold. So I made sure it's bigger than the actual aperture that we've cut, and then that's going to make sure that we cover that without any holes being visible. So ahead of time, I've already cut the circle, and I've half put the blue on there. So this is going to be the rain section, and then we need to build the rainbow on this side. So let's bring in our rainbow. So we've got our red, yellow, green and blue. And the way I did this is just by using the layering dies. And I put all the layering dies together, and I sellotape them so they wouldn't move. And then I just, printed it out on red, yellow, green and blue. And then I can use the inner rings. I know they're going to line up perfectly then. And then it's going to help us create that rainbow look. Okay? So let's start off with a red layer. And then that's going to give us a guide for the rest to follow. So the way I do this is I line up one edge first and follow it round. And then that way, I can cut off the excess when I get to this side with my little scissors. So, and that's our red layer put in. I'm going to repeat it with the yellow. Put the glue into this as well, whichever way you prefer to work. The same again, let's just pop that in there. Use the red as the base, so we're going to stick it, and I can just cut these little bits off so they're level with the blue. And don't worry about these lines here too much because they're going to be really hidden behind the clouds. So you're not going to see if you're a little millimetre short here or there. And we've got the green layer. Line to there. Same again. Question, Susan, do you design your stamps? I don't design my stamps now, but what we do is we gather images from many artists together to create a collection that you can actually use while you're crafting. I hope that answered that one for you. And then we'll push that down. I'm just going to trim these bits out. And the last bit here, I've got a blue section that matches the rain just to fill in the gap. So I just need to glue that in and cut across. I can see that I just need to trim it down a little bit, so I might as well just do that by hand. I don't think I'll be far off, then I'll just have a look. That'd be good, that. So let's get that glued into position. There you go. So we've now got a blue panel, if I hold that up for you. We've now got a blue panel, which is going to be visible when it's raining. And then we've got the rainbow, which is going to come into the card aperture when we turn it around. So let's work on this rain then now. So the best way to the rain, I found, is just with a white pen. And I just did different droplet sizes. And I found the white pen worked really well. So let's just go freehand. And I did some that are filled in. And I did some that were open, just to break it up a little bit. Build this up really fast for you. Fill that one in. And then we'll do some really small ones, just to break it up a little bit. A big one there. And then because it's really rainy, I'm just going to go in with a fine watercolour brush and just add a little bit more detail in. Just wet that down. So what I did, I just filled in some of the open ones, and I also just added some little drops of colour, just so it gives a bit more depth to that rain coming down. You can spend as much time on that as you want to, but we've got some open ones, some closed ones, white ones and some darker ones. Right. We'll just make sure that glue's grabbed out all those bits, which I think it has. That's perfect. So we just need to start assembling this card base now. I don't think I've missed any questions. The first one's the centre. So I've already put a hole through this one, ready to line up. So I'm just going to make sure that it goes through freely. Give that a twist. There we go. And then I need to put the other ones in place now. So I'll just bring in my pokey tool. I'd normally have a lump of plasticine behind this to just stop it bending the card, but I'm just going to use my fingers and just be careful where I stick it. So we're going to push that through. Get that ready. And then we can push our split pin through. That's going to be the mechanism that makes it turn. And then this is where we need to put the actual turner, is on this side, so that when we turn it around, the handle will come to the opposite side. So this is where I went wrong at home. So I've made the actual hole at the back. I'm going to push back through to the front layer. And then we can push our fixture through. Now what I've done as well ahead of time is I've just cut a little loop of ribbon and I put a little star on it just to cover it up so it gives us a nice little pulley. Let's push that into that hole. And then we can flatten those down. What I did at home as well, just put a little bit of masking tape over that, just so that it doesn't cause any friction at the back. It just helps it turn a little bit better. You can see that's already in place, and that's just lines up nicely with the yellow stripe as well on this one. Let's put our centre one through. Okay, I'm just going to turn that over a second. Flip those out. And then we should have a rainbow look that's going to come down. And if any areas start to catch like that, it's really easy just to go in with your scissors and just chop a little bit more out to make it easier. Let's just chop a little bit of that out. See if that's going to catch fine. So a little bit off this one. There you go, so now it runs really smoothly around that side and finishes there. And then we'll just make sure it goes the other way. So just catching on this one slightly. So we'll just take a little bit off that edge as well. I'm just going to turn it this way so it's easy for me to cut. And there we go. We've got a nice little movement now that's going to mean that that goes round to make a full rainbow. So that's our card and rainbow ready. I'm just going to turn that back round, turn this over. I need to put some double-sided tape on the edges. Now, you don't want to put it close to the wheel, or else it's going to block it from rotating. So as close to the edges as you can get it, and as little as you can get away with using, really. Let's put this bit right down here. Put a little bit across that corner there. The same at the other side. I find the red liner tape's really good for this kind of construction as well. It does grab really well. Put a bit onto there. A little bit just on that corner up there. I'm just going to put a little bit down here as well. And then that should give a nice, secure fixing for our rainbow. Can't believe I forgot that sentiment. Just double checking I ain't got it before I assemble this, because it's too late to put it on afterwards. No, so we'll go without the sentiment, but obviously the sentiment I was going to use was the one that says, when it rains, look for rainbow, so you could include that. So just take this red liner tape off and get this ready. Oh, I don't know. Does anybody else struggle with red liner tape? Is it just me? Okay. Take that round. Ooh. Take that last bit off. I'm just going to pop that to one side and I'll leave that over there. And I'll bring it back in my card blank. So I'll hold it over just to show you, but I'm not going to stick it down. So I just thought that the white edge was a little bit too stark. What I want to do is just tone this down a little bit so it brings it back in. So using the same stencil that we used before, I'm going to come in with a slightly different colour ink pad, the blue one. Let me just find that, 2 seconds. We're too excited, look, I don't know how to put my ink pad now. Let me just grab one from over here. Here we go. So this is like an aquamarine blue. Oh, in fact, I've got the one I'm going to use. Here we go. So it's just like a slight of pale blue. So I'm just going to break up the card blank by doing just a few clouds. I'm just going to brush them lightly on. I'm not going to do many. I just want to just break up that white edge. And I think it really does the job of this. Let's take that round. I'm not worried about the centre because we're going to put our panel there in a second. There you go. So you can see it just takes that edge off. And then when we stick our panel down, it's not such a wide, vast area, is it? That down. And make sure that can still turn. We've got that mechanism working fine. So we just need a character to go here. And the one I'm going to use is the one with the umbrella. So I'm just going to bring up the stamping platform again. And I've got a little bit of watercolour card. Let's get this happy fellow with the umbrella stamped out. I'm going to use the VersaFine black as well, so I get a nice crisp image for that. Push that down. Push that down again. And then while we've got the watercolours, we'll just bring it to life a little bit. So I think we can have, I always use the watercolour papers like a palette as well. Let's have blue umbrella. I'll get some nice colours into this. I think we can have the next section is a red. There we go. You can do your umbrella whatever colours you like. Just drag that into there to get that pigment. And then I think we'll go purple on the other one. Turn that around. You don't need much detail on this as well because we've done, the card is the detail with the moving part. And then we've got our grey colour that we mixed up earlier for our elephant. So I'm just going to reactivate that. I'm just going to bring a little bit of grey into our little friendly elephant. Found its trunk. Just drag that down into his chin. And I'm just going to mix a slightly darker grey into that. And I mean, I can just pick out his ears a little bit, make them a bit darker. Take some of those lines around his trunk. There we go. We'll just give that a blast with a heat gun, make sure that's all dried. And then I'm going to bring in the die to cut this out now. A lovely big die as well, so it goes right all that detail and even around the hook of the umbrella. Let's pop that on there. Bring in my plates and we'll just put that through the die cutter. Oops. Just move some of this out of the way so we can see the final card. And then we've got our lovely elephant there. Move that to that side. I'm just going to bring up the stamping platform because I found the sentiment that was missing. So we're going to try and get a sentiment on this card. So let's see, let's put that magnet there. Let's try his best to see if we can get this to do it. I'm going to aim for one press so I don't go in the card. Give that a really good that really firm press down. There we go. I'm not going to risk going in again in case it don't line up. I'm so happy I found that. It was stuck to the underside of the watercolours. And we've got our lovely elephant now. I'm just going to bring in some double-sided pads, which I think are in this tray. I'm going to put some on the base of the elephant itself. Just to give it a little bit of height. And then the umbrella itself, I'm just going to give a bit of a curl to. I'm going to put a little bit of a glue just on the edge, this far corner, this corner. I'm going to put a little bit on top of that gold brad pin. Then that way, when I put this on here, it's going to cover that mechanism as well. You don't know how it's held together. And there we go. So if I hold this up this way, and we should, if I get it from this side, have the rainbow that appears when we twist the card round. So that's just a really fun idea way of just cutting into your card blank really to make a moving part. And it's not really difficult. It's just a brad pin and a circle that goes at the back. So hopefully that encourages you to have a go as well. I'm glad you've enjoyed that. I'm glad I've found the missing sentiment as well as that were annoying me. So I'll just put that on there a second. I'll put that other one up there. That's the two cards we made today. So two total different looks, aren't they? We've got your fast card with the ice ink spray and the stencil, and that gives you a really quick card to make. And then you've got the one with the moving rainbow, which I just think is brilliant. I'm just glad I've been able to recreate that for you today. So I hope you've liked them two demonstrations. Hopefully I'll see some of you at Port Sunlight this coming weekend. But other than that, I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.